To be completely honest with you, Natalie, things went off the rails a bit.
You have me freaked out. I'm here with Pete Lallier, and we're talking about searching for the Mikinaak.
I'm part of a docu-series that started because we saw something and we went looking for it and trying to figure out what it was. And Tom, the Native American elder, we brought him in as somebody that knew about the legends in Minnesota. And he told us, came to us one day and he said, what you guys have discovered unknowingly is a 200-year-old legend called the Mikinaak.
The vast majority of this was filmed in and around Lake Minnetonka.
Correct. Yeah.
Which really kind of has me worried about going in the water. What inspired you to do this? How did you decide, Pete Lallier here, one day I am gonna search for this Mikinaak based on this 200-year-old Native American legend?
So we did not choose this. What happened is that I work in a clinic in Hopkins, and I went in one day and I was working on a patient, and he had just got back from the Himalayas and they were looking for the Yeti. I made a joke to him and I said, you know what? You were just over halfway across the earth, and look at this little video I took on my farm this weekend. He looked at it and he said, you know what that is? I'm like, I don't know what that is. And he goes, I was kind of just joking him about it. And he goes, have you showed this to anybody? And I'm like, no. And he goes, let me talk to some people. I'm going to get back to you about this. And then he recontacted me and said, you should talk to this person, tell them about, they're interested in hearing about it. So I end up talking to this man named Peter. He's a producer. And he says, we have a guy that's a camera guy that's going to come out and we're just going to see what happens. And what we want you guys to do is just go about trying to figure out what you saw, what you videoed on the side of the road, coming out of the water, go with it. And we're just going to show up. The original footage, which gets shown right at the beginning of this docuseries, basically it shows that video. This is what I saw exactly. And it's not unclear. It's like shows something. And it's something that I couldn't figure out. We talked to biologists. There's a horse that we have on our ranch that's named Tex, and I take him for walks. All of a sudden, one afternoon, he didn't want to walk down by the lake. We got down to the bottom of the hill. We're close to where the water was, and he'd stop. Tex would not go any further. He would stop, and Tex is the most steady horse, confident horse ever. He's great. And so I turned him around, bring him back up to the ranch. Did it the next day, turned around again, would not proceed any further. And so the next day in the morning, early morning, I'm like, oh, I'll try. Maybe there's some ducks nesting or something that's happening, and I'll just go down early in the morning. So I got up at about 5 a.m., got a halter on him, walked him down the road. We got down to the bottom a little bit further, and all of a sudden he stopped. And then I was like perplexed, and I was like, I got my iPhone out and I was like going to show my wife. I was like going to take a video. It's like, look, Tex will not like go on the walk like we always go on. I've been telling you there's an issue. And so I look at him, and then I pan down, and as I pan down, Tex like spooks, and I pan down and I see something on the side of the road. I take video of it. I don't know really what I'm seeing or whatever, because I got a horse that's kind of agitated. Finally, I stop videoing, I turn around and bring him back up home. I call up a friend and I say, hey, Dane, let's go take a look at this. And Dane's one of the other cast members. And that's basically all that we did. And then I showed it to that guy, and that led to them assigning a camera person to it. The camera person's name is Adam Zilke, and I'm telling you right now, this guy was the biggest trooper. He spent 3 years with us secretly on Lake Minnetonka. They signed us to NDAs. They told us we cannot tell anybody about what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, anything. If you see somebody, they didn't even want to talk to our spouses about it, nothing.
I have to ask you about this. So your family didn't know what you were doing?
There's been reviews done all over the nation already on this thing, and what really comes through is people say, where did you find these actors or these cast members? And they're like, we didn't. We assigned a cameraman, and they just started following them. They would show up with a camera guy and a sound guy and some other assistants sometimes, and they go, okay, what are you crazy guys gonna do next? And we just went down this rabbit hole of looking at something and saying, how can we find something like this? How can we track down what it is? And so it made us meet a lot of really interesting people. Some of the people started out not being cast members, and they became cast members just because they were so important to the mission of trying to figure out what this was. And you know what? It's really cool. What we uncovered was something that's been happening on Lake Minnetonka that the natives have known about for like literally 200 years. I mean, and Tom, when we first approached him, Elroy, who's one of the cast members, said, hey, there's this Anishinaabe elder that we should talk to, Tom. He knows a lot. And so we go and talk to him. And the first thing that he does is he says, this is our legend. You should stay away from it. You should leave it alone. He was very stern with us. He really we should go and make an offering to the lake, and then you guys should leave it alone. We decided that we wanted to keep looking for it because we started to begin to think, there's some of the people in the group started to think, this is dangerous. When people see what we found, what this is all about, there's a level of where, and you'll see in some of the cast members, they're like, maybe this isn't good that this is here. Maybe there's a reason why all of a sudden it became visible and people are seeing it. You know, this isn't something where you're going to see some blurry footage of something. We actually have like amazing footage. We have some amazing footage of what we found. It ruined some friendships. Good friends of mine went a different direction with it, and they wanted to basically hunt down and kill this thing because they thought it was of imminent danger. Is it something that could be dangerous? To this day, we're listening to what Tom, the Native American elder, says now, and we feel like good about how things concluded. There's definitely some places in Lake Minnetonka that I would never, ever, ever jump in. Like, I'm telling you.
You've been working on this for 3 years.
It was a 3-year process. And the fact of the matter is we found something.
Oh my gosh, you have me freaked out. I think this is really going to be interesting to so many people in and around Lake Minnetonka, especially with the legend that goes back 200 years. I don't know a lot about it, and I'm looking forward to learning about it. The first episode is going to air on Amazon, correct? On May 26th, is that right?
Yep, Memorial Weekend.
And people are going to be able to binge the entire docuseries.
There's some very scary stuff that happens, some dangerous stuff that happens. It was a wild ride.
I cannot wait to see it. People are going to be able to find it starting on May 26th on Amazon. I might never step foot in the lake again.
It brings a legend to Lake Minnetonka that the natives held close to themselves until we basically said, hey, what is this? And then Tom told us, I think it's nothing but good for Lake Minnetonka. Is there a couple places I wouldn't jump in the water? Absolutely. No way.
Will we find out in the docuseries where those places are?
We're gonna have to just see where we're filming and kind of ascertain that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. It sounds absolutely fascinating and exciting and dangerous and intriguing. My hands are sweating. We're going to have him on again to talk more about this.
Right on. Save the Mikinaak.
Thank you so much, Pete. Everyone else, I will talk to you later.